Hey, witches!
Hi, hello.
We are back to SJM with a quart of silver flames.
I honestly been terrified to start this. Like every time we brought it up, I was like, just wait a little bit. It's a pretty big book.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, we're already pretty far just reading the first 8 chapters.
There's 798 pages.
Okay, so
But
8 episodes.
but part of that was just because it's like first time I read through the Akatar, like that fucked me up. Second time I read through it, I was like, okay, I'm healing, but I'm still kind of like this fucked me up.
Right? But
And
the
now I'm
nice
getting
thing
fucked up from a different point of view. And I'm
Well,
like,
the
do I
nice
want
thing about doing it this way is because at least we're talking about it. So it's not like you're just festering with it.
True. There's somebody I work with that I finally told her, she's like, have you read this yet? Have you read this yet? And I was like, no, I haven't, but I will. And she's like, but when? Emily, you've had Silver Flames for so long. And I was like, okay, look, like, I can't read more than one book at a time. I barely read my one book at a time. Like, I struggle with that. And not because I don't have like a passion for reading. I have a lot going on in life and work and I'm tired. And she's like, all right, well, you're going to have to tell me next time that you guys start it. Cause I feel like you're just going to wait for the podcast. I was like, you fucking right. I'm going to wait for the podcast to do it. Cause that makes me read it. That makes me go through with it. And so I texted her and I sent her a picture of it and she goes, Mother has spoken. And I was like, Mother has spoken.
Is this Fee?
No, it's not. It's a girl named
Oh.
Steph. She works in the salon. Fiona hasn't even read through the first book.
No, I thought she listened.
No, not she doesn't listen to these episodes. She
Oh,
listens
just
to
the
everything
okay.
else. And I'm just like,
Okay.
what the fuck? And she's like, what? I was like, you've had my book for almost a year now. Why haven't you finished it? She's like, I get sidetracked. Okay. I've been
Oh
reading the
no.
same book since 11th grade. I was like, girl, you're 26.
Girl.
I know. I haven't finished it yet. I was like, what the fuck? And she's like, I read a couple of chapters and I get distracted and then I go off and do whatever and then I just don't come back to it. And then I start a new book because I see something else that interests me. And then I read a couple of chapters and then it's just a never ending cycle. And then when I finally am like, all right, I'm going to go back to this book, it's the same thing. Or I was like,
I'm not
listen, you
gonna
should probably
lie.
just stop at this point.
I probably have 7 or 8 books going right now. Not gonna lie.
Jesus Christ. How?
Well, because sometimes I'll get like that where I'll be like, I need a break from this book. Well, one of them's always the podcast book, but I don't read ahead, so I don't want to get like,
Spoilers.
well, I don't want, yeah, I don't read, so like, I read way more than chapters a week, so like, I can't just read the podcast book, but then like, I've got this one series I'm reading on my Kindle, and the books are really, really long, and there's a lot of building. So I'm like, I need a break from that one. So then I'll read like a
Yeah.
couple like quick little novels. And then I have a nonfiction book going too, but I have to be in the right mood to read a nonfiction book.
I was talking to my hairdresser today, and she's like, have you read the Colleen Hoover books? And I was like, I know they're not like, I know they're fiction. I know they're not nonfiction, but like, I need fantasy, like
Yeah.
adventure books. That's what really gets me intrigued and involved in all of that. And I was like, I don't give a fuck about what somebody does with their 7 men, like
Yeah. The
on
only Colleen
Thursday.
Hoover book I've read is Verity. And that one was really good, but it was more of a mystery thriller kind
Yeah.
of book than it was.
Yeah, maybe I'll like that one. But
Yeah.
like, I don't give a fuck
I also
about.
just finished Legends and Lattes. That book was so fucking cute.
I heard a lot about that. That's, yeah, I'll
It
read
was
that
so
sometime.
cute. It was my first first Pride book of the month.
Mhm. Listen, if I ever get mm, enough gumption to like start reading multiple books at the same time, I'm gonna do it when I don't work. And even then, I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna still struggle. I'm not diagnosed ADD, ADHD, any of that. I just have symptoms.
Yeah.
That's
TikTok has told
frazzled.
me that I might have that.
A lot of things have told me I might have that, but then when I went to an actual doctor, my doctor was basically just told me I was fat and I had anxiety.
Listen, doctors fucking suck. So I actually have a sensory processing disorder, but it's
Yeah.
not ADHD.
hmm
It's the same
Listen,
fucking
I'll
thing.
get
It's got all
home.
the same symptoms.
Yeah, so like I'll get home from work, um, and I'm in a good mood. Like I'm not pissed off. I'm not anything. Like nothing is wrong. It might have been like a long day. I might have been really sweaty because it's hot at work right now because it's like 90 degrees down here.
Ooh.
Take sometimes. Yeah, and our store doesn't have great air conditioning. Like Arizona controls
Ooh.
the air conditioning and we have to call and make a special request to turn up the air. So, uh it like I'm just sweaty and then as soon as I get home I'll take off my pants. Like I wear jeans because jeans I've ripped like 3 pairs of pants that are not jeans, so I really only have jeans left. And they're the most comfy and somehow more breathable than my khaki pants. So I will get home and I'll start changing and I'll put on a different shirt and but I'll have my bra on. Like I won't take that off just yet because it's a sports bra. It's supposed to be comfy, right? And then
Right.
I'll like put on a pair of shorts and then I come and sit down and immediately something clicks in my brain telling me you are fucking uncomfortable. It doesn't matter. I could be wearing the baggiest things, but I am losing my mind. And Will's over here like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, oh, I got my breast too tight. I can't form sentences. I'm too frustrated. Like I can't breathe, it feels like. And then as soon as it gets off, I'm fine again. And then
That
I'm
sounds
good.
like some
Or like
sensory issues.
probably yeah. And then it's the same way with like the fucking sleeping. Like when I cover up, I get too hot and then I get pissed off and then the dogs start crowding me and then I get even more pissed off because like I'm hot. I can't breathe. But I need a blanket on me if I don't so I can sleep. I can't sleep if I don't have a blanket on me and then I'm like back and forth with this getting pissed and our air's on and I have a fucking fan blasting on me full heat and
Okay, remind me to send you the link to this angelic blanket that I got on Amazon because I bought myself one and then Brittany made me buy her one. Um, Literally a cooling blanket, and it is amazing. So I'll remind me later to send you that.
my happy pills make me more prone to heat, so I get very pissed off
Yeah,
very
I
often
can't
when I
sleep unless I'm cold.
Yeah, I was freezing earlier, and like Will could see how cold I was because like part of my face is never like covered because of how cold I am, and if I'm cold, like everything but my nose is covered because I like feel like I can't breathe if it's covered. So I'll be laying there like this, just covered up. He comes in and he's like, "Are you cold?" And I was like, "Uh." He's like, "Do you need another blanket?" Uh-huh. And then he covers me up and he goes, "Is that better?" I was like, "Yeah." And then I just like go right back into my little cocoon and go right back to sleep.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, sensory issues. Anyways, okay. Quarter
It's
to Silver Flames. I almost
fine.
said Frost and Starlight. Ooh.
Nope, we finished that one. That one was only 2 episodes. This one will not only be 2 episodes.
Not at this rate. Okay.
Oh my gosh. So there's like a little introduction at the beginning before part one.
I really like
And
those little things, like those little blurbs to kind of bring you back into the world because it's small. It's
yeah.
short enough to not give away too much, but it's enough
Well,
to
and this
make
one
you
kind of
like,
like almost
oh,
flashbacks.
yeah. And then it's kind of like, oh, okay, so like we are definitely seeing it from a new point of view,
Yeah.
and we kind of see like a little blurb of what she's going through, and it's like, oh, this is great. Back in the world now.
Yes. So it's basically just all about Nesta's point of view of going into the cauldron. So yeah, it's intense and it's very much the Nesta we know and love.
I took something, teeth and all.
Oh my gosh. And then we jump into part 1, which was called what now? I just
Novice.
yeah, called Novice. Chapter 1 is actually from Cassian's point of view, kind of.
Yeah, I don't mind the point of views, like the different point of views, but I would like to be told who I'm reading it from.
Yeah, I feel like they did that
Because
in the previous books.
they did, but there was also a lot of different point of views. There was like Reese's, Feyre's, Cassian's, and like
Yeah.
Azriel's. Like there's all kinds of point of views happening. Actually, I don't know if there was as, but regardless, I mean, I know this book is based after Nesta and Cassian and like their healing, so I kind of understand. Like, okay, I'm going to be reading from one of those two perspectives, but if it's not very clear, I'm just going to be reading from like a third person point of view.
Yeah. And this
Like
one
I'm
I feel like is
narrating.
written from a third person, but it starts with Cassian's internal monologue, kind of.
Yeah. He's coming to knock on Nesta's door
Oh my
bright and
gosh.
early. And he's
And
panicking.
well, and he always pushes her and pushes her buttons. Like there is
Hmm.
nothing has changed. And so like we just dive right back in basically to where Frost and Starlight ended. Like their new house is built now on the river. Nesta doesn't live there, but um and Nesta's still being an alcoholic.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you going to do?
And I feel like some of these first couple chapters kind of got on my nerves because I feel like haven't they learned in all this time how to interact with Nesta? Like babysitting her and telling her like you will do this. Like I feel like that's not the way to get through to Nesta. Like
There's
you
like
kind
a
of have to challenge her a little bit.
yeah, there's something that happens between Cassie and Nesta later on in one of the books that I'm just like, that's how you get somebody to do it. And
Right.
because stubborn old fucking mule, that's how you do it. Why? Because it works for me.
Yeah, and I'm just like this is not I don't know. Like they're like babysitting her basically. Like he's like kick him out, get ready, I'll be back to get you. Like that is
And he's
not
trying to fucking jump out of the bedroom window
right,
because he knows
right.
exactly who's there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I just love that the I miss the little jabs at the Bat Boys. I miss them. Like the
Yes.
like go perch on a chimney. Like
Yes.
like those little sassy comebacks I've missed. So I'm glad they're like front and center right here and there. But yeah, she's like, don't bother, I'll be there in time because she's got to be someplace by 9. And he's like, that's not what I was asked to do. I'm to see you from door to door. And she goes, go perch on a chimney, and she just walks away.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at when I was like, why are they treating her like
A child.
a child? I guess she's acting like a child, but like, have they not learned that that doesn't work for Nesta yet? Apparently not.
Yeah, she's also
And then I said,
mentally like hurting right now, so that is
right,
definitely not a way to do it. Come
yeah,
on,
and like
Feyre, you should know.
they've just kind of left her to her own devices to see if she'll like pull through because she is such an independent person, but it's not working
I feel like
clearly.
Feyre was kind of like an independent person too, because I mean, she did certain things herself. She didn't care. She did
Yeah,
it because she had to. And when she was posed with this thing, like she kind of didn't do it either. Like she did, but
yeah,
she didn't.
right.
And it's like, okay, you guys, I feel don't get along because they're so
You're so
similar.
much alike. Yes,
Yeah. So maybe instead of treating her a different way, you should try treating her in a way that would have worked for you.
right. Right. And they don't do that.
But whatever.
And I'm
No,
like,
they don't.
ugh. But I definitely get like they Cassian kind of in his internal monologue kind of thing kind of talks or thinks about like why Nesta would prefer living basically in squalor over living in like one of the really nice houses that Feyre and Reese own, like because they offered her a space in the townhouse or in the House of Wind, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, or in their new home. Like they've offered her places in all these different homes and she's like, "No." But I get that. Like especially being such an independent person, I would rather especially in grief be alone and independent than in some fancy cushy place. Like being watched almost or babysat. I
Well, and
definitely get it.
I feel like too, when you're in that kind of depression, that she's in, you're almost like, I'm too much of a burden for everybody else. Like I want to leave.
And I don't deserve
And
this. And yeah.
yeah, so being that way is going to push her and to the point of stopping all connections with her family and the night court just so that she might feel this is what she deserves kind of thing. I mean, she hasn't always been the nicest person to deal with. She's been kind of an asshole.
Right.
And I think she kind of knows that on top of everything
I
that's
feel like that's
happened
kind of her
recently.
coping mechanism. Like,
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think that's how she was raised. I mean, we kind of see like a little blurb about like what her mom used to always say to her and how I feel she what's the thing where it's like you have I don't want to say daddy or mommy issues, but like you have that thing where you just enjoy being told not being told what to do, but like you are called something so you strive to be that because of what like
right. Like you try to live up to the expectations kind of thing.
yeah, like you have like good girl kind of like not a fetish, but like you enjoy that. Like that's
Right.
what gets you going. More ways than one. So then she's just like, "Oh yeah, like my mom used to always call me this, so now that's all I do." Just so she could get like that praise kink. That's it. God.
She got there.
Listen, you're like I wouldn't say stressed out, but you're tired and a little like brain boggled, like your brain's everywhere and all in one place. If you can't figure out a simple fucking word, and I've been doing this all week long, everyone's like, "You good?" And I was like, "Nope, just give me a second, I'll get there." And then like 2 seconds later, I pop back up on the radio. I'm like, "Okay, this is what I meant," and they're like, "Oh, okay, that makes more sense." Yep, I'm a fucking manager of an entire department. I'm a manager of an entire department, and I can't fucking speak words.
It happens. I'm like a whole teacher and in charge of people's children, and I'm like, but I also use that sometimes, like in with my students, like just as like an in the moment lesson, because sometimes I'll be like, I need a moment, and then I'll be like, it's okay if you need a moment to ask for a moment, and we'll just go through it. But anyway, it's a whole thing.
Mhm. Anyways,
Also,
so I
on
feel
page
like she
15,
has that.
yes, on page 15 at the top, she's talking about like it's kind of the bottom of page 14 as well, like how she hated her father, and even in those last moments she still hated him, but like the look in his eyes when he died was just stuck in her head. And she just goes through like she could have saved him, it was the King of Hybern's fault, but it was her fault too. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, are there not faith therapists? Because yikes.
No. Well, and I feel like at this point it's guilt. It's guilt at not being able to stop things because like we kind of witnessed that in the previous book too, where she was like, like she didn't blatantly apologize to Faye. Sorry, that felt weird. Feyre for making for making her go out into the woods to like try to fend for them. She was the oldest, so she should have gone out and did all of that to take care of the family, but she didn't. She
Right.
just let her littlest sister go out and do that for them. And I don't know if it's because like I think she was partially scared and she was afraid to actually admit that she was scared about her like circumstance and whether or not she was going to survive. And Feyre, being that like person who wasn't necessarily under her like mom's thumb, essentially,
Right.
I mean, she was good dealing with her own trauma from her mom, but her mom was straight up like, "This is my prized possession, Nesta, Feyre who," and so Feyre never
Right.
actually got like a lot of those trainings because went into Squalor shortly after she passed. So she was just the one who was like, I'm gonna do it because what else am I gonna do? Like,
Right.
I know nothing else. And then the other girls were like, that's not prim or proper, you wildling. A bitch, it
Ugh.
saved your life. Like,
Right. She kept you alive, so fuck off.
I just feel like she's going through that guilt trip all over again.
Yeah.
But now with her father for all the shit that she did not do.
Yeah. And the shit that he did not do, like both ways, I feel.
Yeah. Now, was she scrying during the war, or was this before she became Fae?
I think it was during the war, right? Because wasn't that how she found Elaine when she got like taken?
Yes. Yes. I guess I was thinking about like the first time they got captured.
Yeah, no,
But
the second time when they took.
that wasn't really her fault. That was Tamlin's. Never
Yeah.
mind. Okay.
Ugh, everything is
I just
Tamlin's
gotta
fault.
I just gotta
This
like remember the
whole fucking
story.
series is Tamlin's fault. Fucking Tam.
Should just slept with Amarantha when you had the chance.
Jesus Christ.
Shouldn't have denied
Anyway.
her love bond with you.
Oh my god. Ugh. And then, so on page, Nesta's like, she had gone to, so we're now at Feyre's Riverside Manor or whatever, Feyre and Reese's riverfront house. Um, and Nesta's talking about how she doesn't see any representation of herself there. Like,
And I'm so sad about that.
well, yeah, but I'm just like, why would Feyre not? Like, I feel like their relationship was improving there for a minute. And I know she loves her sister, so why would she not? And then I'm like, or is she just missing it? Like, is there representation there of her? There's not a painting of her because she doesn't come around, so they haven't been able to have her sit for one. But like, is
Does she need
there?
it for one though?
Well, I don't know, maybe not.
I feel like Feyre has the mind that can like remember details really well because like
That's
I
true.
don't think she's ever like had anyone sit for her.
That's true.
But
I don't
I do
know.
agree with you. Like, is she in it? Are there other telltale signs?
Right? Like, is there a room that's decorated in flames? Like, or like,
Right. Is the like red ivory look of certain
right?
places a representation of her because like maybe she doesn't think she'd like a painting. I don't know. I do agree with you though. Like she might actually be missing it. But I just feel like there's shit that is traumatizing to Feyre. She's going to paint about it. And if this whole situation with Nesta was kind of traumatizing, like it kind of was about Elaine, she would have painted.
Yeah.
Maybe she just hasn't shown it to her. Maybe she wants to show it to her and only her, but she's never around.
Right. It's just not displayed.
I know Farah does have a little thing about her artwork where she's like, it's a little
Yeah. I
about it.
mean,
So
I
maybe.
feel like most artists do.
True. But
um,
anyways.
and also, like, what the fuck, Nesta? I know she said that she had seen to like basically destroying her relationship with Amryn. But I'm like, what did she do?
Right?
Like,
What happened? I want to like hear more about that. I hope we
I
do
think we
hear about that.
will. Yeah, I think we will. But um basically this is an intervention at the River House, and
I feel like her spending all that coin last night was like a cry for help.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's like she's never did this to this extent.
right,
But
right.
then when she was like, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, and then
She
Vera
did
gets the bill, like,
it.
and is all embarrassed. But I was kind of cracking up and kind of annoyed at the same time because they basically don't give her a choice.
Yeah. They're like, okay, well, you either do this and brave the 10,000 steps down to get possibly a drink with $0, or you can go back to the human realm. I feel like if she
Yeah,
went back to the human realm, she would go back to her manor, and then she would just not side with them, but like, isn't that where not Tamlin, but Jurian
Lucian.
and Lucian and all of them are living at that
I
manor?
th- I think so. Yeah, I think so.
But if anything, that's what she remembers. That's what she knows. So then she'll just go back there.
Yeah, and I feel like she would fit
And
in very well with the
yeah, I was gonna say
outcasts.
she's part of the band of exiles. Like,
Yeah. But then at the end, um, Cassian's like, "You're coming with me to train," and I'm like, "Yes!" Like, push them together. I am here for it. And then we're at chapter 2.
so I have a question about Reese. So Reese has kind of always been this weird person around certain people, whether they like him or not, but he doesn't show it quite well. And does he truly hate Nesta, or does he just is like, man, you pissed me off for what you did to your sister?
I think that he has not forgiven her for what she did to her sister. Like, I think he's still really fucking pissed about it. Um,
I think she understands too, bro. Like,
right. Like,
I
she's
don't,
kind of
I
mad
don't
at
want to sit
herself and
here.
beating herself up too. Like,
Yeah, like I don't want to sit here and say like forget about it, because obviously that was detrimental. If it wasn't for like Feyre and doing all of that, she would have died. Like there would be no mate. There would be no like being free from Amarantha. But God, all is well. Like give it a break. This poor
so
girl like
I,
witnessed her father die and all of this bullshit. Shut the
and
fuck up.
you're like 700 years old. She's what, 20?
Are
Like,
you holding a fucking grudge against a
a
woman that did
child?
a
Like,
stupid mistake? Like,
she's literally a child compared to you. So, like, chill out.
this is probably
I,
why we're more like Nesta than Pharaoh, because we're sitting here challenging it.
right. Oh my gosh. I was listening to Morbid podcast the other day, the true crime podcast that I listened to, and there was something that one of their listener tales people sent in, and it said, "Remember and recover, don't forgive and forget." And I was like, "Oh my god, that's amazing." And then I saw it on Facebook today and I shared it cuz I was just like, you don't have to forgive and forget even for your own personal health. Sometimes there are some things that you're not going to forgive, but you do have to cope with and recover from. And I feel like that's a big shift in my mindset, especially with some things that are going on with my family right now. Um, it's really helping me to think about it that way. Like, I don't have to forgive or forget any of this bullshit that you're doing. I'm gonna remember it, but I'm gonna recover from it.
Yeah, like I'm gonna be better
Yeah.
or do better. One of the two,
Yes.
whatever. Um, I love how in chapter 2, Feyre is like telling her and giving her these not ultimatums, but I mean, yes,
Basically.
one or the other.
Yeah.
This is what your
Orders.
options are. And Nesta's like, that's none of your business. And I was like, wait, in chapter 1, you literally just commented on about how, like, well, as long as I keep putting the bill, like, I'm going to keep doing it.
Right?
What?
I I get why Feyre and Reese and Cassie and all of them are doing this, but this chapter is so fucking cringe. Like with them talking about like
Like,
you
why do they
will
all have
do
to be in
that.
the same
This is
room?
over. Like it
Yeah.
like I get that it's an intervention, you're giving her an ultimatum, like you have to do this to get better. But also you're taking away all of her free will. And I just was very cringe at this.
And, not so much free will, but her money. I mean, I know she doesn't
Yeah.
have any money, but, like, money. She can get a drink and go do whatever she wants if she can go down the 10,000 stairs it takes to get down and back up, but only if she can find 2, like, coins to foot the bill, and it's like, listen, she
Right.
deserves anything and everything if she makes it down those goddamn stairs. Like, don't sit here and
Right.
say, "Oh, yeah, only if you do this and if you can find money." Honey, that 10,000 steps is going to deter anyone from doing any of those things. They're gonna
Right.
try. They're not gonna be happy about it, and if they make it, give them fucking money for a goddamn drink. Like,
Well, and
something.
I just feel like they gave her two choices. That was it. She could
Yeah.
go live in the House of Wind and train with Cassian and work in the library, or she could go back to the human realm. Those were her only two choices. Well, if you're just
How about
cutting her off,
therapy?
why can't she get a job and stay in
Yeah.
her seedy apartment and live on her own means? Like, so you're exiling her? If she doesn't do one of your two choices, you're exiling her. I was just very like, Gryffindor
Yeah.
energy.
Well, and here's the
Ooh.
thing too. They fucking lied to her. They're like,
Yeah.
on page 236 or something like that is the rules. What the fuck? Where'd this fly come from? There are these rules for the court and all of its people inside of it, and she obviously didn't bother to look at it because it's like, well, she's new here, of course she's not going to know this. And then a little later they go outside and Reese is like, I'll be right down outside the door down the hall a little bit so that you guys can talk privately. And it's like, privately, I get the door is like shielded or whatever against eavesdroppers.
But they literally have a bond.
Exactly.
Like
And
what?
like the look on Nesta's face when, or was it Feyre's face? Either way, the look on their face when he was like, I'll be like a couple steps in the hall out right outside the door, and it's like, Jesus Christ, like, bro,
Right. You're yeah.
loosen the reins a little bit. That
Yeah.
would piss me off. That would piss me off. I'd be like, will you just go someplace else right now? Like, goddamn. But
Well, and I literally wrote this because I was like, what the hell? I wrote fucking Feyre. I get why she's doing it, but we went from one extreme to another because we went
yeah,
from just completely leaving her alone and footing the bill for her life and letting her live and try to heal on her own to now we are completely in control of your life. You have free will. You can't do anything without our say
we're gonna
so.
lie to you about it to get you
Because they
to.
knew putting her in the House of Wind that she wasn't going to make it down those 10,000 stairs. Like they knew that.
Yeah,
So like we went from one extreme to the total opposite. Like I don't know, it was just wild.
yeah, and I feel like Cassian didn't like the move either that Amryn did. Um, because he goes, I didn't even know we had laws about that, like that, about the court membership. And she's like, we don't. And he
Yeah.
swore under his breath as Reese smiled wryly, but Cassian frowned toward the shut double doors and prayed Nesta didn't do anything stupid.
Yeah,
I'm
cuz
like,
It just does not seem like the right way to go about things.
Honestly, this feels exactly what Tamlin did to Feyre.
Yes. And I feel like she
Like,
keeps doing that.
because it's like she's calling out for help. Spent so much fucking money. She needs assistance. She, not that she's addicted to alcohol, but she's addicted to something that is blocking out this feeling that she
Yes.
has. You went through the exact same thing, you piece of shit, and now you're being a Tamlin, blocking her in by not letting her leave. Like, she can never leave this place. She can, yeah, you're giving her the option to leave, but you're also
If she
giving
can walk
her,
down 10,000 steps
yeah,
of stairs, which you
but
know
you're
she can't
giving,
do.
yeah, you're giving her a failing task. She's not even going to get down 100 before she starts getting dizzy because of the lack of food she's fucking eating.
And
God
just
damn it.
like she hasn't been taking care of herself. So you know she's
No.
not healthy. Like a healthy person would struggle to go down 10,000 steps, let alone Nesta, who is not a
Yeah, like
healthy person.
if people like Cassian sit there and say, "Man, those steps suck," and he
You're
trains every
right.
day for 2 hours,
Yeah.
you best believe that shit's gonna stink for her. Yeah, no, that pissed me off when I read that. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Oof. Okay, chapter 3.
These people just running this court with mental illness and jokes. It's great,
That's how I life.
right? But it's heartbreaking. But I mean,
Yeah.
everyone else is just being weird about being at the war. At least she's being kind of on track with her mental health, like coping
Right.
wise.
She's
Like
having a.
this is what I feel like it would be to cope with the
Right.
war. And they're just like,
Yeah.
"Da-da-da. My house is built. Hey,
Well,
I'm
I feel
gonna go
like
have
some
sex
of
with my
them,
mate."
like, I feel like some of them are just used to this and, like,
I
they
mean,
still have
yeah,
trauma, but
maybe.
they're better, especially the older ones, like, are more equipped to handle it. And then Feyre is like doing her painting and her like charity work and all of that. So
And
I feel
Elaine's
like
got the
that's
gardens. Okay,
cathartic.
yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like they're all doing something healthy to cope, with the exception of maybe Az. um, sounds like he's just kind of throwing himself into his work.
Oh, for
But
sure. Busy body.
um, but yeah, she's just the one that's not doing that. But then on page 39, Reese is like, "Are you sure you're ready for this?" Basically,
He's such
to
a golden
Cassian.
retriever, Cassian. He's such a golden
Yeah,
retriever. He's like, "Do do do, here I come."
yeah. And he's basically like, "I can handle it." If you didn't think I was ready or you didn't think I was going to be able to handle it, then why are we doing this? Why are
Yeah,
you making this happen? Why are we forcing this? But whatever.
we're doing this. So that's what we're doing.
And then on page 40, they talk about Miriam and Draken a little bit. Page 40? Is that's what I wrote, but I'm. Oh,
That's
yeah,
where the
because it's at
cauldron
Crtea.
is.
I still need like a novella or something
Yeah,
about them. I need it
he's the
very
cutest.
badly.
Yeah, it's. I could probably read that at the same time as reading this.
Yeah, like it's the
Same
same.
world. I really don't have to
Yeah.
like switch my brain to this world to that world. Like,
Yes.
I'm just at a different island. I'm just doing a vacay. That's fine.
Yeah, it's almost like how they switch points of view for chapters. Like,
Yeah, I can do that.
um,
Um,
then I didn't write anything else till page 47.
I like how Reese says on your guard, and Cassian's like, you say that as if you're afraid of her. I am.
Right, aren't you? Like,
What?
I feel like she's got all this power that they don't really know.
Yeah, they don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And um the what is it? And then he's just like, "Hey, you might not be afraid of her because you face a ton of foes, but you're going to train her and you're going to be a courtier. Good luck." You never
And
had
like,
this training in
oh,
your life. All
okay.
you've done is brute strength. So go have fun. And I think he'd make a great spy, but like the comedic relief spy, not like James
Yeah.
Bond.
Yeah.
More as James Bond. He's just the weird ass sidekick that just gets fucked up a lot.
I like it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Um, page 47. Um, there's a whole paragraph where Nesta's talking about how she doesn't care where she stays. So now she's at the House of Wind, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
they've moved her up there and everything. And she's like, she doesn't care where she stays, except for the fact that the library is all on the same level as her room. And I literally wrote, I too read to escape the real world and avoid my problems.
Same.
Because I do. That is why I have like 7 books going on at the same time, because if I can't cope with what's happening in the real world, I'll just read a book to escape for a little bit.
Same.
Which
Just
my
don't escape
therapist
too
tells me
much.
is not healthy.
I was gonna say, just don't escape too much because that shit happened to me the last time.
Yeah,
I mean, you know what though? In all honesty, if it wasn't for that, this podcast would not have been born.
it's true. It's true. And like I guess I don't really read. I mean, I do read for like escapism, but it's more so when I get like obsessive thoughts and I just keep thinking about something and thinking about something, I literally nothing will make me stop other than like reading. And sometimes reading doesn't even do it. Sometimes I'll be reading and I'll go through like 2 or 3 pages and I'll be like, what the fuck did I just read? As I'm like knee deep in a problem student and trying to make something
Yeah,
work out in my head. Like,
I feel that.
yeah.
I definitely use it to escape the real world and the real problems and everything that I got to deal with. And then all the cool, fun, awesome things that start happening in the books, I'm like, man, I want to do that. Man, I want to do that. And then I get jealous. And then I become obsessed with that. So then I like don't want to finish the book because if I finish the book, then I'm just going to have a bad hangover. And then,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways,
I don't get book hangovers very often. I think there's only
I
been
have
1 or
serious
2.
hangovers. Let's be real about that. I have hangovers.
It
That's what I
has to
do.
be a really like it has to be a book like one of those books that I'm like, wow, like that really changed something in me for me to get a book hangover.
There's one
Which
book series I started and I haven't finished yet. I'm actually in the middle of a book. I don't think I'll get a hangover with that book. It's great. It's not a bad book, but it's not like detrimental to like found thought to me. So it's not a bad
I
book
think
though.
the last one for me was the Once and Future Witches. Like I
Oh,
read it and then I was like, I just want to stay in this world for a little bit. I don't want to move on. So,
yeah, I get that. I kind of
um,
wonder too, after all of this, if Feyre and Nesta will be the best of friends just because of what they both went through. However, Feyre is treating Nesta as a Tamlin, as if she
yeah,
were Tamlin. So now I feel like, I mean, she straight up just looked straight at Feyre and was like, I will feel nothing ever again for her, kind of like
yeah.
mentality. And it's
I
like,
feel
Feyre,
like
you did the exact same thing.
they're gonna go a little like where Feyre acted when she had to, like she jumped into the war and fought when she had to. I think Nesta's gonna be a warrior and she's going to fight all the time. Like she's never gonna stop fighting for whatever. Where Feyre's more the diplomat, like
She's more the brute.
yeah, yeah.
Which is why her and Cassie are perfect together. Even
Which
though
it's
we don't
funny.
know if they're legitimate or not.
Well,
It's implied,
listen,
but
I'm gonna need it to be. So
it's implied, but it's not confirmed. Honestly though, I was reading and I the way my brain like read the sentence, I was like, and her mate. I was thinking like they were talking about um Nesta's mate, and I was like, wait, when did we
wait,
establish this was a thing? But then when I reread it again to like make sure I understood it, it was like and her
Mate.
insufferable mate talking about Feyre, and I was like, oh, never mind. Scratch what I wrote.
Oh my gosh,
Anyways,
that's all I had for chapter 3.
chapter 4.
Chapter 4.
This chapter kind of pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie.
I literally only wrote one thing about this entire chapter.
I wrote 3, but
I didn't write
mine
anything
are coupled.
until page 56.
I didn't write anything till 57, so go ahead.
I just wrote the fucking human queens because Moore is telling Cassian about, or they're talking about the human queens because the human queens are like planning something, and I'm just like, ugh, these bitches.
Of course they are. God forbid they do anything else. They just do what they do best, apparently. Be fucking annoying.
Yeah.
So on the same note, like during this meeting with Moore, I got really pissed off at Moore for a second. Like, I really like Moore. I think she's great. I think she is traumatizing in like a way that you can like relate to her. Traumatized, not traumatizing. But her comment about Nesta really pissed me off. I didn't settle right with me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know I shouldn't be upset with it, but like they have all been displaced somewhere somehow. Like, why can't, or not about Nesta, sorry, about like Jurian and all of them. Because she was like, well, they can't be trusted actually because of these reasons. And it's like, what do you mean? Like, Lucian can't be trusted because like he's living with Vasa and Jurian? Like, bro,
Right.
he was unwelcomed at his home court. He went to another court because he felt like home, and then he realized that Tamlin was a fucking asshole. So then he switches courts for a second time, and now it's the Night Court, his sworn enemy for years because of Tamlin. He doesn't feel comfortable there. He doesn't feel any sort of like, this is my home. And his mate is there, and his mate wants nothing to do with him. So why is he going to be around there?
Right.
Like, he's
Like,
giving her the space that she's asking for because he's a nice person. He deserves nice things to be happen to him. Like, don't sit there and say Lucian can't be trusted.
yeah.
Bitch, sometimes you can't be trusted either, but like, damn.
Right. Well, and like, so because he's hanging out with Vasa and Jorian, who were instrumental in helping you win this war.
Yeah.
I
And
don't.
they're like, well, Jurian was with Hybern, kind of bullshit. Yeah, but Durin also, like,
Right, but he was
played
also
both
pulling a
sides.
Reese. Like,
Yeah. Like, are you like the double standards? The double standards.
yeah, I definitely get that.
And but what do you? But here's another thing. What do you think Eris did? Chaos, he get. What do you think Eris did that
I think
you're
he was
not?
answering you.
Well, you tell her that you need to be comfortable because you are a king. Okay.
Oh my goodness, the
What a
biggest of
baby.
babies.
So what do you think Eris did that prevented Kier from like popping up?
I don't know. I don't
Like, they're
know.
implying it might have something to do uh with fuck, what's her name? Moore. And I kind of wonder if it's like, hey, I'll bring your daughter back here, or hey, I'll break your daughter. You just don't go here, you know? Because I mean, he's playing both sides.
He
He's playing his
is.
dad. He's playing like two different people. So I feel like he would do the same. Because wouldn't Baron and Kier be like the same person?
Right. No, that, I mean, yeah. Hmm.
But I want to fucking know.
I feel like we will find out.
We fucking better.
Feel like she's
I feel
trying to
like
redeem this
why
fucker,
would
and
you
I don't like
say
it.
that if it's not important to the story? And
No,
it's
I'm
probably not
sure
important
we're
to the
gonna find
story,
out.
but yeah. I didn't write anything till chapter 62. And this is actually a
No, and that's all I
noise.
had for
That's what you
chapter
had?
5 or
Okay.
chapter 4.
So it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and Cassian wakes up out of the dead of sleep, and I think he like senses that Az is home or something like that. But then fucking Reese butts into his brain, and he's like, "Why are you up at this hour?" And it's like, "Bro, why are you up at this hour?" And he goes, "Oh, we're taking a break." Okay, great, you're taking a break. Why are you talking to me?
Get out of my fucking head.
Why are you messaging me? Is Favor gonna be okay with it? Well, she needs a break. Probably. She probably does need a break. Like,
Oh my
you
gosh,
pissed her
I need a
off,
break. Get out of my head.
right? Like, I'm trying to sleep, bro. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't gotta be up till 6. Like, get out here. It's like, you busybody. His buddy name was so unnecessary. Like, go away.
I feel like
All I
that's
have
a
to
very
say.
brother thing to do, though.
Honestly, though. But I feel like it's like, I feel like it would be Reese butting in on like Cassian taking a break, not, don't worry, babe. We're taking a break. I'm gonna go
Right, I
check in
guess
on
that's right.
Cassian real quick. Like, that just ruins the mood. I don't have siblings, but I feel like
I
if
don't
that were to
either.
happen to me, like I'd be like, all right, I'm done.
I'm
Like
like,
I
all
just
right,
saw
I'm done. I'm
my
gonna,
sibling.
yeah.
Like I'm out of the mood now. Goodbye.
Oh
Whatever.
my gosh.
Anyways.
Chapter 5?
Yeah.
So on page 64, right away, um, they are eating breakfast, and where did it go?
She's not eating.
Oh, yeah, she's not eating, and she's like, 1, I'm not participating in this lesson, and 2, I'm not hungry. And he says, not eating won't bring your father back. And I was like, damn, cat, shots
Call her out.
fired. First thing in the morning, like,
I
bang,
feel like
bang, shit.
Will has done this bullshit to me. Like not to the extent of like, well, doing this won't bring back your mom kind of like ordeal, but well, doing this isn't gonna help you kind of thing.
Right.
And then I just sit there and I'm like, fucking
Logic.
aware,
Keep your
but I'm
fucking
still
logic
not
over
going to
there.
do it. Yeah. And it fucking works because in the long run, he'll be like, you do realize like you're just making it worse, right? And then like when he's not looking, I'll go like, I guess not do what I was doing or something like that. And but it just pisses me off because it works so well. And of course it fucking worked for her.
Oh my gosh. Oh, well, then I don't have anything else to page 67.
I don't have anything till 71.
So on 67, they're kind of like not flirting, but like bantering. Um, and she's like, if you think this training nonsense is going to result in you climbing into my bed, you're delusional. And they just go back and forth. And I just put a heart because I love their banter and they're like back and forth. And I missed it. I missed these two.
I think my favorite was like, oh, it's not going to. And then she's just like, that's all right, I fucking won. And then he's like, you're gonna climb into mine. And she's like, I'd rather not.
And then, on page 68, like the very next page, he's like, he's like talking about,
Was that chaos snoring?
yes, it was chaos. He's snoring or something. Um, he's like, he wants to, or he spilled his heart to her and like blah, 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 blah. But he really didn't.
He was just
Um,
saying he wished he had more time with
yeah. And I'm like, well, maybe if you did bare your heart to her, when you got back from the war, then maybe things would have been different. Like maybe you could have healed together or something. I don't know. I feel like leaving her to her own fucking devices was obviously not working.
Well, I think there's a reason behind that though, because at Starfall or the Solstice, one of the two, when he got her a present and she just looked at it and like tossed it into the river, I think at that rate he was like, all right, well,
Well, let me
never
just go
going
fuck
to let
myself then.
this, yeah, like I'm never going to let this happen to me again. That like hurt that he felt during that time, I think that's
Yeah.
partially why he just, I mean, he probably could have done it sooner because the solstice was a little bit away, but
Yeah. And by that time she was already like deep in her like debauchery. Like
yeah. What?
then we're up at the Illyrian camp. Fucking Devlin.
I fucking snorted when I read this. This is so good. What's her business doing here? And then she's like, witchcraft.
I know. I was like, yes.
I was like, as a kid, as like whatever, whenever somebody was like, what is she doing here? I like that was my go to, was saying witchcraft. It still is to this day. I walked into work one day and someone's like, what are you doing here? Witchcraft. Like it's just
I love it.
nonchalant now. And it's just great because I completely forgot Devlin thought she was a witch or like
Yeah.
horrible because she's essentially made from the cauldron kind of thing. She is the cauldron, in other words. But Cassie's just like, not right now, Nesta, not right now.
No,
I,
I
I
can't.
think would be perfect is if Nesta becomes a general for the Illyrians and bosses Devlin around. I think
I would
chef's
adore
kiss.
that.
That'd be amazing.
I literally just wrote ugh. That's the only thing I wrote for the rest of the chapter because I was just like, first of all, Devlin and his sexist bullshit. Like anything she touches, we're gonna bury. Um,
Fuck you, Devlin.
right? Like okay, you fucking like, why don't you just put it in a separate area? That way she can use the same things over and over and over again and not have to bury it. But whatever.
Right?
And also, like, push her a little more, Cass. Like, I get it. He's trying to do it the best way he knows how, but like just ignoring her and allowing her to just sit there, I don't know, it really irritated me. Like
Yeah, I
push
feel
her,
that.
piss her off. She'll get up and she'll try to fight you, and then she'll realize she
Like you
needs to
literally,
train.
yeah, like you literally just pissed her off at breakfast and got her to eat.
Right.
Like I
Like if
see that your
anybody is needing
manhood,
her to do this, you are. So
yeah,
push her.
and I see that your manhood is very, very like shriveled up now just because of the fact that she denied training you in front of the other Illyrian people.
Oh,
Grow up. Like
yeah.
they
Like,
call her a witch in general, so like
and they call you a bastard. So like, who gives a
who
shit
fucking
what they
cares?
what they think? Like,
Yeah. They don't respect you and they don't like her because of what she is. And if you can't train her because of what she is, then why does it matter? Like, what are they gonna do? Break her? They ain't gonna break her. She's probably gonna fucking kill all of them.
yeah, I just
The thing I said about chapter 6 was that this depression is way worse than Feyre's. I'm not saying that didn't feel like significantly bad, but like this is where we learned that she felt like her mom basically said she's going to wed for conquest. Elaine's going to do this. So she literally was going to wed and her mom was going to be so disappointed in her. So that starts the spiral and then she couldn't do any of this and then she couldn't save her father, she couldn't save her sisters, and now she just feels like a big waste of space and that she can't deal with it and that she is horrible as a person. And that's what she deserves, and it's better that everybody hates her than tries to like help and save her and do all of that. And that's just fucking sad.
Yeah, I would agree. Also, I feel like working in the library with the priestesses could end up being really healing for Nesta.
Oh yeah,
And I
because like
almost
they want her
wonder
there.
if Reese isn't thinking the same thing. Like, is that his plan? Is that his reason for suggesting that she work there?
Right. Well, because they don't let anybody in unless it's them,
Right.
like unless they say so.
Yeah.
But I really wish she didn't sit there and be like, "Okay, fine, you won't give me wine. I'll go get my wine." And it's like, damn it,
Yeah.
don't go back to it.
Yeah. Um, on page 79, Clotho and Nesta are like talking back and forth um, via like notes. Nesta's talking out loud and Clotho's writing. And so Nesta's like, I'm done for the day. And she says, thank you for your assistance. We'll see you tomorrow. Um, wear clothes you don't mind getting dusty. You'll wreck that beautiful dress down here. And Nesta says, all right. And then Clotho says, it was nice to meet you, Nesta. Feyre speaks highly of you. And Nesta says, no one likes a liar, priestess. And she thinks that she kind of might hear like a almost mini laugh from Clotho. And I'm super shipping that friendship. Like, I dig that dynamic a lot.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good for her.
A lot, a lot.
I think it's like Nesta and Amryn, but this one's like a healing version.
Yeah. Like, it's someone
Like
who's going to
look for her
challenge her.
magic if she needed it. This one is like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm here if you want to talk.
But I also think Clotho's going to challenge her a little bit, too. She's going to be like,
Oh,
look, like, not like, look at me in the way that, like, I had it worse than you did, but, like, look at me, everything that's happened to me, and look at what I've done since then. I feel
yeah.
like she'll be able to challenge Nesta a little bit in that kind of way.
I think it's
And
gonna be
then
good for her mental health.
at the end, I just said she can't be serious because at the very end of the chapter, she realizes she's at dinner and the house won't give her wine, and she realizes that the house has been instructed not to give her alcohol, and she's like, "Keep your wine, I'll get my own." And I'm just like, she can't be fucking serious. Like,
Here's the thing though. I mean, if she's not spending money and gambling and like betting random people, why can't she
or
just have wine
yeah,
at home? I mean, I get it. Like if you are an alcoholic, like you just want to like
they're
I
like
don't think
detoxing.
right, like I don't think the problem is the alcohol. The problem is
I
the
don't think so
mental health
either.
she feels.
Yeah,
She could there's people out there with serious alcoholic tendencies and problems, but like she literally just spends money and then sleeps with random people.
yeah. I don't think the
Like
alcohol is
she
her
doesn't
actual
beat
problem,
people. Yeah. Um
but it's not helping either. And I get like doing a complete detox for her. I
yeah.
don't know. Um, page 82. So now we're into the next chapter, chapter 7. Um, and
We finally
we're,
get to hear about tampon.
yeah, we're with Cassian.
I went tabs on tampon at all times.
um, and he talks to, or he thinks about how he stopped by the river house to admit that like Nesta wouldn't train with him, and Feyre was annoyed, and Reese was like kind of amused, and Amryn was like, let her dig her own grave, then offer her a hand. And he said, I thought that's what this past year has been. And Amryn said, keep reaching out your hand. And I literally teared up because like there are people in my life who did that for me. They kept reaching out their hand, and I pulled through what I was going through, and I've come so far. And that was just very like, I don't know. I literally teared up when I read
It's like
it.
sometimes you have to hear that, like you have to hear what people not are saying, but like you have to hear that there's people out there still trying to help you. Because when you're in
Yeah.
that moment, all you can think of is that nobody's there for you, and that you're just pushing them away because like well, they're gonna get tired of me doing this. Like, this is how I feel. This is what I'm doing, and they're just gonna keep going and keep going.
Yep. Everybody else leaves. Why wouldn't they leave too? Like that was my big
Yeah,
thing. And then there were those people that didn't. So
that's probably
it
why I
was,
had a lot of toxic friendships and relationships because I was that person. Fuckers.
oh my.
Anyway,
The next thing I have was on page 88, which is quite a jump. So do you have anything?
I'm right after that, which
Okay,
is,
page
and it's
88.
probably the same thing.
Um, so the paragraph I am referencing, he's talking about how if he ever found the name of the human bastard who put his hands on Nesta, nothing would stop him from fighting the man, blah, 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 blah. She's like, if Nesta gave him the go ahead, how he would kill the man. And I'm like, I don't think Nesta needs your help in that regard. I think if
Not
she wants
now.
something to happen to him, she's got this. Um, so chill out with your masculinity over there.
The I want to know why Reese like thinks he's like, I want to, what is his angle for Captain to be the new emissary?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like he's got some kind of plan, and I don't know if
Oh,
it's
always,
for Nest
always.
for Cassian's benefit or for his own. But I kind of feel like it might be because like Cassian during the war was like, this is what I'm good for. Like I am your blade, I am your sword. You just point me and I will cut people down. That's what I'm good for. And like he kind of that's his only worth he feels and he's kind of said things about it. So I almost wonder if this isn't Reese being like, look, you have other
You
worth.
can
You could do other things.
maybe, yeah. Reese has a lot of issues, but helping other people see their potential is not one of them.
Right.
Listen, my next thing is on page 92.
I have something on page 90, but I'm trying to oh, um all the other queens deserted. Is it Brialyn? 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 The crone, right? All of the other queens deserted her, and I think that's fucking funny. And then I don't have anything else, so page 92, so you go first.
Fucking Baron.
I literally wrote, what the fuck, Baron?
Fucking Baron. So we find out that, okay, so Cassian goes to the human realm and he shows up at the manor where Jurian, Lucian, and Vasa all live. And he shows up, he goes in there and he sees that Eris is here. And he's like, fucking awesome. I didn't want to say anything in front of him, but here we go. So he goes in there and he is talking to them like as friends, like he's trying to find the angle he needs to go through without giving away too much. Come to find out, like all the other queens deserted the one queen, and the one queen it went to Koshi. Koshi is the brother of the bone carver, so he is an ancient being with power.
And
And
he's all
that, like,
that imprisoned Vasa, right?
yeah,
Or that turned her into the Firebird.
yeah, because he's stuck at the lake on the
Yeah.
other in the other continent. So now we know kind of a little bit of backstory about him. Like it's confirmed like that is definitely the bone carver's like brother. The bone carver was afraid of him, as the bone carver was also afraid of his sister. Um, even though they made amends before they both died, but like he wants nothing more than to be released from his prison in the lake, and he will stop at nothing to get that to happen. And if he thinks helping the human queens do this, then that's perfect. That's what he wants. And so that's what's going on. He is helping them. And on top of that, as they were leaving, Eris comes up to Cassian and goes, hey, by the way, my dad has sworn his entire army to the queen. And the only reason why he didn't say that out loud during like the meeting with everybody is because he wanted Vasa to confirm to him this is something the queen would do, because he had men missing, and his hounds, who are blessed with magic, can find anything in the world, could not find his missing people. And so then we find out that those exact warriors that went with his father to the continent came back very aloof, very different, and now they're missing.
Yep.
And so Eris is like, I want in. Whatever you're doing, I want in. And Cassian's like, son of a bitch.
Right? He's like, son of I hate this fucker.
But this is where I think maybe the Hewn City is involved. Like, is he playing both sides? The Hewn City is like, hey, don't go up there yet because you might need this. Like, you don't want to like raise any alarms, or is it something different?
Yeah.
We need the Darkbringers to stay on the side of light. Even though I think a lot of them died in the war. That's besides the point. Anyways, that's all I had.
Also, Eris is just such a dick. Like,
honestly, though.
That's all I have for
comment, the breeding comment, I should say.
Yeah, stick to fighting battles, General. Leave the ruling to those capable of playing the game.
And then as soon as he goes outside, he's like, oh, she didn't want to say hi. And it's like, you fucking brutalized more. What do you mean?
Right, no, she didn't want to fucking say hi to you, you piece of shit.
You're lucky you're still alive.
I don't have a whole lot for chapter 8, so I feel like we can push through. I do feel in some sense of the way Nesta does need the alcohol, because a sober bitch would never think she was going to walk down 10,000 steps of stairs to get some alcohol.
True, though.
Now, maybe a stubborn one. Maybe she's just that stubborn.
A stubborn one. Let's be real. She's fucking. She's a mule incarnate. Like that's her. She's a jackass.
But she tries to go down the stairs. She gets really dizzy. She can barely walk, and she's only to like step 100 or something like that. And so she comes back up, and she's crawling by the time she gets to the top.
Panting, sweating, all of that, and Cassian's there.
Yeah, Cassian's just there, like, okay. And I love their banter. I literally wrote on page 99, I love them, because she's like, what stair did you make it to? Or he said that. She said 111. He said pathetic. And they just go back and forth. He's like, you can't get up, can you? And she's like, go fly into a bar. Yeah. I just love them.
It's amazing. And then on page 101, the next morning, she's like in her leathers and she's sitting down there, but she had to get up and get down there first before Cassian could see her, because like she wasn't able to like really walk. Right. And she's sitting there and she's like talking to Az, and Az goes, well, how's training? And she's like, training is fantastic, absolutely riveting. He goes, I hope you're not giving my brother a hard time. And she goes, is that a threat, Shadow Singer? And Az said coolly, I don't need to resort to threats. And she goes, neither do I. He's like, she just looks at him and goes, I want to train with you instead. And Cassian drummed his fingers on the table. I think you'll find Az is even less forgiving than I am. With that pretty face, I have a hard time believing that. And Az is like, well, I shouldn't be here right now.
He's like, okay.
Yeah.
Give you guys a moment.
Right. And Cass is like kind of pissed off. You could see that he's pissed off because she goes, you want to train with us? Go ahead. Though I doubt you'll survive a lesson with him when you can't manage to walk down 100 stairs without being so sore the next morning that you're unable to get up out of your chair. And she's like, yeah, and I'm going to fucking show you.
Then down at like the bottom after the little like page break thing, Az is like, you're in deep shit. Like, so they're out on like the veranda now and Nesta's still inside. And he's like, you're in deep shit. And Cassian's like, I know. And I'm just like, I have missed Az so much.
But this is what I love the most about it. Like right before all of that happened though, Cassian is like sitting there going, what is it? So she stands up. She uses her hands to stand up, and Cassian goes, "It doesn't count when you use your hands to do most of the work." And she goes, "I bet that isn't what you've been telling yourself at night."
Yes.
And Cassian's voice dropped and goes, "Is that what those smutty books teach you? That it's only at night?" And then he's like, "It could be any time, dawn's first light, or when I'm bathing, or even after a long, hard day of practice." She didn't miss the slight emphasis he put on long and hard. Nesta couldn't stop her toes from curling in her boots, but she said, "Sounds like you have a lot of time on your hands, Cassian," as she walked away.
I love
I was
it.
like, "Fuck yes, get him, Nesta, get him." But it's great.
And then on page 5 or 105, Jesus. Basically the last thing I wrote. Cassian needs to like do some, I don't know, work. He needs to talk to like, I don't remember. He needs to talk to Devlin or something.
Like there's another war coming.
And he's like, go wait inside, um, like to Reese's mother's house. Um, and she just sits on the rock. And he's like, you can sit out here for an hour and freeze, or you can go inside and warm up. And he's like, she wasn't that stubborn, was she? And I was like, of course she's that stubborn. But she's also selfish. So she ends up going inside.
He's like, fine.
But she's absolutely that stubborn.
Yeah. I do appreciate Cassian here for a second though, because like when they go inside and the fire is cackling, you could hear it like snap, and then Nesta like stopped for a second and it brought her back kind of. And Cassian's like, man, where was she in just those few
Right.
moments by herself? Like what brought her back? And then he's like, actually there's a few shops you can go to if you want to go. And I'm like, oh my god, are we gonna go see the other Illyrian woman? Are we gonna go see her in her little shop? Are we gonna go? I want to go. And yeah, but he let it drop, and she just like left in silence, or he left in silence, and so like we don't know where she went. We don't know where she is. That's all for chapter 9.
8. Oh, never mind. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like the next part for chapter
Yeah.
9.
I thought you were saying that's all for chapter 9, and I was like, no, we just finished chapter 8. Never mind. No. Good Lord. Okay. Yeah, that is
can be misinterpreted.
Part 1 of A Court of Silver Flames.
Here we are.
We got this.
Got it again.
All right.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.